All right, let's go. Let's see if I can start them. So complicated. Anybody remembers the room number where we are? What is it? 1023. I need to go to the right. 1023. Anybody knows where can I replace the battery of my MacBook in a lane?
Yes.
Where? Can you type it somewhere? Because my battery is dying and I cannot work anymore. Really? Okay, not cool, but
MacBooks force themselves to destroy their own battery.
yes, but you know, I have some constraints here.
Doctor, I'll ask you a question. Is there a place for ethics in IT?
What do you think?
That's an interesting
7082. Is the, yeah, good question. Is there or not?
I think yes.
What? No. Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Oh yeah, we cannot think. Yes.
That's not the correct answer. The correct answer is why. So why?
Oh, okay. Why?
Span up doesn't work. Yeah. Is it recording? Yeah. Right. Everything is not working. Okay. That's awesome.
Release from the start.
Yes. Hold on. Technology is very complicated today. Well, always. Wow, it's duplicated. I don't like it. Okay, so 1 minute. Oh, damn it. Siete, cinco, cuatro. All right, sorry about the delay. All right, welcome to the sixth session. We're gonna do a quick review to make sure that everybody's on the same page, okay?
Okay.
So first, do you know why you are here?
Yes.
Why?
To be ethical.
Yeah.
To learn.
To be ethical, that's very good. And why do we need you to be ethical?
To be successful in my
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Say your name. Amar.
So when I watch, I be ethical person.
Something like that. So when you go to work, we don't want to graduate engineers that are very good and have no ethics, because that's bad for society. Yes? Great. So that's very good. So first you will learn about ethics, and then you will learn about technical stuff related to ethics in IT, and that's the structure of the course. Does that make sense? Remember that in this course, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about how you argue your ethical point of view. Make sense? I'm not going to teach you this is right, this is wrong. No, I'm going to teach you to think, and you should always be able to see the both sides of a story and to argue against and in favor. Make sense? So we're in chapter 1, and this is a quick review of the learning objective. So what's ethics definition? Why is it important for business? What can an organization do to be more ethical? What could the university do to help you be more ethical? Not sure about that. What else? And this one is very important. The approaches to ethical decision making. So you will see how to be. There's a process where you can ensure that your decision was ethical. Then the trends. This presentation you did last week, it's about this, to cover this objective. Would you say that business are more unethical now or less? Less ethical?
Yes.
So they do more bad things?
Yes, because they want more profit.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. So let's review quickly the slides. We saw the definition of ethics and morality. We saw that morality can change by depending on your demographic. Yeah? Can you give me an example? The guy who said yes. Yes. Name? Adriani. Yes. So, give me an example. About how ethics and moral change depending on your demographics.
I will talk about it.
Okay.
When you get older, for example, your point of view changes. Like you see the society in another.
Would you say that your point of view changes?
Like your way of thinking changes.
Okay.
The morality will be changed as a life experience.
Yes.
To be changed from one person to another, like this one was engineering, this one was studying the law, this one was a waiter, like this.
Very good. Yes. Yes. Tell me. Very good. Yes. Somebody else? We saw the 5-monkey experiment. What did you learn in the 5-monkey experiment? We learned 3 things. What was it? Yes.
I know the story.
Well, tell me, what can you learn or teach, or what does the story teach?
I know the story, but I don't want to teach.
Okay, yes?
Like do the same thing. You see that you only on the top this was a big.
Okay. So some people
But I know the story.
some people follow rules without knowing why. Okay, that's one thing, yes.
Morality is defined by the people around you.
Morality is, yes, but that's not the main teaching. 3 things we learn. First one, when there is a rule or an ethic rule or something, there is always an important economic reason behind it. Like the monkeys make the rule that nobody will climb the stairs because why? No, because there's a big economic, nobody likes to be cold, okay? So there's always something behind, there's a big reason. Always, at the beginning at least. That's one. Number 2, what did you learn also? Some people follow rules, they forget, no? It became a tradition, yeah? The rule starts, it becomes a tradition, a culture, then it's not useful anymore, or yes, I don't know. And then people follow it, or because it works, why change it?
Sacred banana.
Very good, the sacred banana. And the number 3,
Things change, that is the
things change and yes. Right. So the society can change. In this case, the society changes because there's no more punishment for taking the banana, but the tradition stays there, right? So sometimes things change, morality follows or doesn't follow.
Something comes.
The world changes and morality is always behind. Make sense? Got it? Very important three teachings here.
But you just said people follow rules without knowing why, and society changes morality stays. What's that?
Okay, that's a bit simplistic, but okay. And people follow rules without knowing why.
Yeah.
And there's always a strong economic reason for a rule. That's the number one. Definition of ethics here. You got it? You can memorize this one. We saw integrity. What is integrity? Yes. Name? What's your name? Ali. Tell me what's integrity according to you.
Doing the same thing without people seeing you like you always do. Even if it's good or bad, but you always do. Or
Yes, somebody else?
Integrity is like changing something.
Integrity? I don't know. What does integrity mean? Yes,
Something will change. Can nobody change?
something like that.
The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles.
To me, integrity is
It's between a woman and divided.
so integrity comes from the Latin integer, which means what? Whole,
It's either being whole and undivided.
whole and undivided. But here it means that you apply the same rules and the same judgment no matter the situation. For example, somebody can say, I'm very ethical. I'm very, very ethical. Okay, fine, you're very ethical. And someday my son gets sick and I don't have money to pay for the hospital. So I go and I steal from a bank. And I say, well, I made an exception because my son. Is that integrity?
No.
Why?
Integrity, it applies even no matter your situation.
Because I change my judgment, I change my values when it suits me. Right? So integrity means you have some values or some ideas or some opinions and you don't change them depending on the wind or the situation or when it suits you.
So is it.
Does that make sense? That's yeah. So can you have ethics without integrity? Why not? Because you need ethics when it's difficult to be ethical. Right? That's when you really yes.
You can't be ethical for just an hour or two every day. You should be ethical all the time.
Correct.
So you can't change your value when you want.
Correct. That's integrity. So can you be ethical without integrity? Not really, because when you most need it, you're not. Right? It's very easy to be ethical when it's easy to be ethical. Right? It's easy with small things. But when a really important thing comes up and you really need to be ethical and you're not, that's when. So people with integrity, we say these three things. You have some values or something, right? Some rules to follow, something. Like, I don't cheat. I never cheat in the exams. Fine. Okay. Good. This is another one. I'm very ethical with myself. I treat everybody, I treat my friends very well, but my not friends, I don't treat them well. Kind of. And you apply your moral standards or your rules, no matter the situation. That's what it means. Yes? Questions? Good. All right, then we saw The difference between morals and laws. What's the difference between morals and law? What is a law anyway? What's the law? Yes. Name? Name. Hassan.
Rules given by the government.
Rules. Yeah, okay. More information, please. Set of instructions. Yes.
Have to follow.
Have to follow. I don't have to follow. I can break the law. Have to follow. What?
You will be punished.
I will be punished.
Rules that are enforced by the government to keep the society in check.
Interesting. To keep law and order. Yes, very good. Somebody else? What's the law? What's the law? What does it mean? Yes.
It's like a bunch of laws that we can't do in our life and that we shouldn't do in our life.
We shouldn't do that. I think the law doesn't care what you do.
But like,
The law has no feelings.
if the law told us like, don't do this and we did it, we'll be punished.
Break the law.
Now you got it. So the law defines legal acts and illegal acts, right? And it defines a system of punishments. That's it. You get it? It's nothing about should do. You can do whatever you want, but if you do this, this will be what will happen to you.
Because everyone just
So it defines a system of punishments. Yeah? And it defines it's called legal acts. What's a legal act? Sorry, legal acts. What does it mean? It means it's not outside the law. Make sense? So if you are under the speed limit,
You're outside.
legal act. 1 kilometer outside the limit, above, outside. Does it make sense?
So if you're inside the legal act, you're not punished. If you're outside,
Correct. Yeah, that's what it's a system of punishment, basically. The laws are enforced by a set of institutions. How they are enforced, it's very important. Yeah? What's the difference between law and ethics? Yes.
those are so
Name. Say your name. Yes.
Those that are like from man-made. Ethics are like natural. It's from our minds. Everyone knows this one's right, this one's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Not every law is the right thing to do. There is rules that are good for the
Okay. Somebody else? Yes. Yes.
Law is something that
Written. And the ethics is not. Ethics is not written.
It's more emotional.
Okay. Interesting. That's interesting, actually. Yes. Somebody else? So the difference between ethics and laws is
law is unchanging.
law. Well, you have the world. You have society. It changes slowly, but every day changes a bit. And then you have the morals. And the morals change with society.
Yes.
And the younger people have different morals than the old people because people don't change.
But laws don't change.
And laws are the
it
slowest.
64 years.
Because,
It's really
yeah,
hard to change a law.
because the law changes is digital. Is today is legal and tomorrow is, for example, driving in Saudi Arabia, right? It's a perfect example.
Driving is Arabic for females.
For film, sorry. What happened there? 100 years ago, females, morally and law, no.
Recently, 2018 now.
But then it changes slowly, right? But the law was not changing. And then the law changed to this year or last year,
That's it.
right? So you can see an example where society changed gradually,
rates of accident.
But the law-
100%.
changed suddenly. And why is that? It's because somebody has to agree. A lot of people have to meet and say, hey, let's change this. And when a lot of people have to meet, things
It's a really lengthy process.
you have to
It
convince them.
needs a lot of people to actually accept the change.
Correct. Does it make sense? So we say that. Yes.
What's the main difference between law and
Law is a. We'll go to the book for the definition, but you should. I would say, if I was you, law is a set of rules that define legal acts, and it defines punishments for acts outside the legal acts. Yes. So the keywords are defines legal acts, punishment system. It defines a punishment system. That would see. And ethics is a set of rules and beliefs that's it. And most of the time, and then you can say most of the time, ethics and law agree, right? Because the laws are made by the people that have some ethics, right? So people don't do laws that don't agree with their beliefs. But sometimes they don't agree. And why is that? Because society changes, their ethics and morals change, and laws are slower. So we say laws follow society and ethics. Does that make sense? Clear? Well, very good. Another example. Right, so you did some presentations about scandals in the business world. Which was your favorite presentation? I was checking Slack and let's see. Yeah?
For example, we study intelligence. If I want to speak more.
No, a bit more, I think. 5 slides more that we will see today. I'm trying to recover the. PPTX, let's see. Okay, which was the most popular presentation? Snowden. And Apple scandal. And United Airlines. Very good.
United Airlines first, not also.
Wow, United Airlines wins? 1, 2, 3.
Just long names. Long names.
We have Joss with us. The power is all with Joss.
Joe's counts as 10 points.
Yes.
Yeah, so you guys get the bonus point. Congratulations. Who was it?
It's not.
Good job. Very good. I learned a lot with that presentation. Very good. The others were very good too. Good. So what did you learn from this presentation? Business are horrible. What did you learn? What? What did you learn?
Stick to things.
Okay.
Because they will find out.
Yeah.
People don't ask why.
Would you say that there are more scandals now than before?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Okay, and the reasons are here. One is globalization. Yes? Why is globalization fostering more scandals? Why would you say is that?
Because they want managers to do job fast.
No.
Because they want high profit, but they have to, there is a wrong way, but it's still good.
That would be the second reason. What would be the first reason? Why is globalization? Why is globalization? Okay. Why is globalization creating more scandals? It's because globalization is this is complexity, right? So I think we talk about this, but if you look at the components in your laptop, you have more than 6,000 components. And how do you know that each one of them is not made an entity? You have to check 6,000 providers, and these providers have other providers. So you may have to check 20,000 providers. How do you check that? It's impossible. With a valla. Where does it come from? Who made it? No idea. What if it was done by a slave too? I know, right? No, but it's very hard because globalization is very easy, but then you cannot check anything. Number two, this is what happened with Enron and Volkswagen. A lot of pressure for profits. Does this sound familiar? You have the same problem here with the GPA. Who feels pressure to have a high GPA here? All of us? And why do you feel this pressure?
Because it's hard to achieve part.
That's what? Because it's hard? No. Why do you have pressure to achieve GPA high? High GPA, yes. What happens if you have a low GPA?
Sometimes
You can go out of the university.
Really? Yes.
Because low GPA, I can't be accepted to higher universities.
Very good. Is somebody here on scholarship? What happens if you have a low GPA?
Low GPA? I have no idea because I've never had low GPA.
That's very nice. Yes.
You lose the money and they take the scholarship.
Okay.
After the war.
So that's all the pressure. So what will happen if a student has a very low GPA and this exam can get him a high GPA? What do you think will happen?
Try your best and cheat. That's what you want us to say. Yeah.
No, but
You will force all this time.
I want you to understand. This is not a very good system, right?
Yes.
Because desperate people will do desperate things, right? Yes? This is the same that happened to Volkswagen and Enron. A lot of pressure to everybody to increase the profits. I don't care how you do it, just do it or you will get fired. Volkswagen, impossible to make the car cleaner and cheaper. Impossible. So what do people do? We will cheat a bit, and then a bit more, and then you get it? So that's the problem when you put a lot of pressure. What would be a better system to not put pressure on people about the GPA? So a good way to do it would be to reward. Yes.
Cancel exams.
No. A good way to be don't reward performance.
It's actually common for people getting jobs without a college degree. More people are looking for innovative people instead of people who pass college.
That would be one. But one thing companies do is don't reward performance, reward behavior. Like, okay, you took a lot of notes, you went to every class, but you didn't get an A or a B, but you tried a lot. Okay, that's a good behavior, right? That's another way to do things. Yes?
You can make it fail in class only. Without the grades.
That would be another example. Very good. Very good. Does that make sense? So here you can see how policy is changing a bit. The policy can change a lot, lots of things. And the last one. What does this mean?
We need to know what vigilance means.
Vigilance means a camera watching at you. That's vigilant.
The action of keeping careful, watching for possible injury.
Bonus point, you can post that on the slide. So now you have the internet. So if a company does something bad, it's very hard for the company to hide it. So, in my opinion, companies are as bad now as before. But before there was no internet. There was newspapers, and the company, if something bad happened and the newspaper was going to publish a story,
Become the reporter.
or yes, that's many cases. There are many cases of that. Or the company would say, well, if you publish this, I will not put advertisement tomorrow in your newspaper. So
There's also bribery to the reporter.
yes, makes sense. And now with the internet, this is very hard to do, and it looks like there are more scandals in part to that. Make sense? Did we watch a video of the Naked brand? Did we watch it? So I want to show you a small video clip that shows this perfectly.
Even governments nowadays cannot hide anything. There is a Wikipedia out there that people can post things anonymously.
WikiLeaks. You talk,
WikiLeaks, yeah.
yeah. Nah, wait a minute. Sorry. I think it was this
What
one.
did you expect? Googling Naked brand.
It's a famous documentary.
In search of answers, we took a trip to this.
This video clip is about how culture, what we were saying about the GPA, how to not force people to cheat. There's a company in America called Zappos. Do you know it? Zappos. Do you know this company? They only sell shoes. And I recommend you buy shoes in Zappos one time because the customer experience is incredible. But let's see what they do.
A lot of companies have ideas for improving their customer experience. The challenge is making it happen. How do you change your organization and train your people to deliver a great experience? In search of answers, we took a trip to the Zappos headquarters in Las Vegas.
It is such a good time to kiss. It is such a good time to dance. It is such a good time to Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo,
One more thing I'm going to do for you for being such a good sport and understanding that sometimes we all make mistakes.
Who's this guy?
So then it looks like it.
What's his job? Come on. Customer support, yeah?
Yeah.
These things happen. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade your account to VIP with us. Awesome. We ordered one pair of Nike Cortezes. We ended up talking for like 2 hours and 50 minutes. And I told him, like, he didn't feel like a customer to me. I felt like we were bros just walking around the mall together shopping for shoes.
It is such a good time to kiss. It is such a good time to dance. It is such a good
No company is more synonymous with customer service than Zappos. The online retailer has sold millions of shoes while spending relatively little on paid advertising. Instead, Zappos has invested in free shipping, a 24/7 call center, and most of all, the simple idea that happy employees will lead to happy customers.
Rather than just say culture is important, let's actually make it the #1 priority of the company. We get the culture right, then most of the other stuff like delivering great customer service and customer experience happen naturally as a natural byproduct.
What did he say? He said something very important about culture. What did he say? If you get the culture right, what happens?
When people become right.
You get the customers.
Happy, everything will be fine. Yes?
Yeah,
No,
happiness.
no,
Happiness.
unity and,
That's very interesting. It also applies to ethics.
you can't bring the US customer like the style of selling.
You can. You cannot.
It won't be the same.
Okay. But he said something very important. If you get the culture right, everything will be fine. It applies to ethics also. You can have an organization with lots of rules that nobody follows. Or you can have an organization like Zappos with very few rules but very strong culture. Does this make sense?
Cause after all, you love spreading cheer. Customer service is what we do.
Jerry. I'm the mayor. I'm here to make sure everybody's happy. As you see in my cube, we get free hugs.
The Zappos corporate culture is casual, a little dorky, and most of all, happy. On a typical afternoon, you'll see a potluck lunch, a parade, a giant shoe, slick dance moves, a guy in a leopard suit, and lots of smiles. The level of happiness in this place is almost ridiculous. The company throws blowout parties, provides free healthcare for all employees, and even keeps a full-time life coach on staff.
We know for a fact that if a person is, happy personally, they're also happy professionally.
It turns out that happiness is great for business. In 2008, Zappos hit $1 billion in sales and hasn't looked back. The growth has been driven almost entirely by word-of-mouth recommendations and repeat customers. In 2010, the company received 25,000 job applications for 250 openings. That makes Zappos more selective than Harvard.
Hey Zappos, my name is Tyler, and I'm trying to get a job with you guys, so what I did is I wrote a little song based on your guys' 10 core values.
At the same time, we had to ask, in a company where everyone is so happy, can they still make the hard decisions? Is there a happy way to fire somebody?
A lot of companies have these things called core values.
Yes, excuse me. How do you think they fire people at Zappos?
You're fired. Congratulations.
No.
Guiding consultant will kind of read like a press release that the marketing.
Okay, this is important. Hold on.
A lot of companies have these things called core values or guiding consultant will kind of read like.
Have you seen these posters in companies like, "You will never be fired for making a mistake in this company"? Like,
That's a mistake, huh?
yes. Yes.
Press release that the marketing department put out. Maybe you learn about it on day one and then it just becomes this meaningless plaque on the lobby wall. So for us, we wanted to avoid that. We wanted to come up with committable core values, and by committable, meaning we're actually going to hire or fire people based on those values, completely independent of their actual job performance. Even if they're a superstar in their specific job function, if they're bad for our culture, we'll fire them for that reason alone. And I think that's something that most companies aren't willing to do.
Okay. How do they fire people? Or
Fix the culture.
okay. Interesting. Yes. Yes.
Their performance, bad over.
The performance is not a big part of it. Yes. Yes.
They fire based on culture rather than performance.
Correct. Yes. 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 You get it?
Yes.
What do we do here at the university?
If you fall below a certain level, even a tiny bit, you're out of the university. Doesn't matter whoever you are.
Even if you were super ethical and super nice guy to everybody.
Yeah. Even if you're wrong.
How do they fire professors at the university?
I don't know. They didn't give us aid.
You know how they fire us?
Let's know.
They don't follow the rules.
Well, yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
But we have, targets. Publish so many papers. We have to publish papers. If you don't publish papers, you get fired. Do you know what happens? Well, we have a lot of pressure to publish papers. So what do you think happens?
Papers are not well made. It's more quantity than quality.
A lot of stuff and even worse. Okay. I have a performance review, and in this performance review, as a professor, they say how many papers you publish. They also check how well I teach, and they check how much I help the university. But one thing they don't check is, was I ethical or stuff like that. There's no input in, was I a nice person? Was I helping my colleagues? No input on that. So it's all about performance. Does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
Volkswagen, performance. Performance is like 99% of it, basically. Yes? So what do you think happens? There's no culture. Because they don't value the culture.
A really dull environment or no culture.
in theory, yeah, culture here, blah. We are nice with these values, but in reality, when it comes to firing, they don't check if you're following the culture they want. Does it make sense? Yeah. But Zappos is super famous because it's a very profitable company. Amazon bought them. And they were very different from the rest of the people. Very different. So if you want to learn more about Zappos, this guy wrote a book called Delivering Happiness. It's a very interesting book. I totally recommend it if you want to learn more about it. Questions?
The company's culture and company's brand are really just two sides of the same coin. The brand is just a lagging indicator of the culture. Companies are becoming more and more transparent whether they like it or not. Everyone's hyper-connected and information travels so quickly, so that lag time between brand and culture is actually becoming less and less. And
what is he saying about brand and culture? What did he say about brand and culture?
They are becoming less like.
Let's.
They're superstar in their specific job function. If they're bad for our culture, will be independent of their actual job performance. Even if they're a superstar of our values, and by committable, meaning we're actually willing to hire or fire people based on those values, completely independent of their actual job performance.
What? How do they fire people at Zappos?
Actual job performance.
Not the job performance. Their behavior.
Yeah. Someone
Not the job performance, their behavior. Does that make sense?
Even if they're a superstar in their specific job function, if they're bad for our culture, we'll fire them for that.
Even if they are a superstar, yeah. Is this what happens in normal companies? No, in normal companies you have a very, very, very good employee, creates a lot of money. He's an asshole. No, we don't fire him. He's destroying the culture. Yeah, but he's making lots of money. It's a huge mistake because once you destroy the culture, not 50-50, zero.
No.
Yeah, this year you will have good profits, but in 10 years you'll be gone. You'll become Nissan, Enron, one of those. Yes.
I won't use it alone, and I think that's something that most companies aren't willing to do. Company's culture and company's brand are really just two sides of the same coin. The brand is just a lagging indicator of the culture. Companies are becoming more and more transparent whether they like it or not. Everyone's hyper-connected and information travels so quickly, so that lag time between brand and culture is actually becoming less and less. And that is really scary for companies where the brand that they're trying to portray.
What is he saying about brand and culture? Yes. What's the relationship between brand and culture according to Tony? Yes. It's the same. He says it's the same, just the brand follows the culture. So you have the culture and the brand will follow. If the culture is bad, if the culture is good,
it is different from their internal culture.
Good evening. Thank you for calling Zappos. This is Ken.
For Zappos, their culture is reflected in their interactions with customers, as well as their media coverage. When they do spend money on paid advertising, they let the culture speak for itself. Their recent TV campaign consisted of transcripts of real customer service calls.
It's a great day here at Zappos. How may I help you? I received the most beautiful dress this morning. Oh, awesome. Oh, it's gorgeous. My problem is I don't know who it's from. So I'm going to take a look here. Okay. Does this happen a lot? No, not really. Who do you think it's from? Is it from Eddie? No. Okay. Daryl? He's like stalking me. Okay. Is it from Jesse? Yeah. Ah! Rachel, it's from Jesse! Oh my god. She's so hot.
Okay, very funny.
oh yes. Let's see if I can find it. There it is.
Could this bottle...
I think this is a bit better. No. Yes. Okay, ready? Who's this?
It's a person.
A6 split second 8 wrestling shoes, excellent lateral support, 5 stars. Everlast gel glove wraps, not enough wrist support, 3 stars. My name's Amy Krajewski. I'm semi-retired, and my 2 favorite things are coming here to the boxing gym and reviewing products online. I consider myself an average consumer. The only difference is I review everything I buy, whether that's beauty products, home and garden products, boxing equipment, sports
She's a spoiler. Okay,
equipment. I review it. To date, I've written over 900 reviews, and those reviews have been read by over 1.4 million people. I'm a fairly opinionated person, but in social situations, I usually keep those opinions to myself. Writing reviews for me is a great way to get my voice out there and heard. CoverGirl Smoky Shadow Blast? Crap! You know, the lovely Drew Barrymore and all her, full-page ads looking for this stuff is crap. It wears off in a minute. When I first started writing online reviews, they were not that common. Today, that's really changed. And I really think very few people buy anything anymore online without at least checking to see what people are saying about it.
Yes?
She just looks at the object for 3 seconds and writes a review.
She does.
And you would think that companies knowing their products are being reviewed and talked about would, encourage them to make better products. But, I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm not sure at all that it's true. There's still a lot of crap out there.
You're watching an ad, Crayola colored bubbles. It looks awesome. Your kid would love this. So you go online, you're about to buy, and then you can't miss it. It's inches from add to cart, and it's bad. Every single reviewer gave it 1 star. If that isn't enough, they've taken pictures, but they look a little different than the commercial. And although most purchases are still made in stores, this information follows us wherever we go. More than 80% of smartphone owners use thanks to research and comment. 90% of consumers trust peer reviews. Only 20% trust advertising.
Awesome. Got it?
Yes. Another video.
So yeah, this movie is really good and it really fits the topic of transparency. So I recommend you watch it at home. I think we can watch one more. One more. That's it.
That's how YouTube pulls you in.
What?
When you watch one video,
Could this bottle actually...
it's not simply involved. Last like, what is it?
Oh, the full video. Block it in country. Yeah, but it's blocked. I think it's blocked. Yeah.
Turn on VPN.
It's illegal.
Turn on VPN to use VPN.
Could this bottle actually...
No, I think that's it. That's good. Yeah, that's the most. There's one about Patagonia which is very good. Hold on. But I cannot find it. Anyway, Patagonia is this coat brand and they tell the consumers exactly the bad things of the materials in their coats. So it was the first brand to tell, hey, look, you're buying this, but these are the bad things that we did to do this. And this material pollutes this much, and this material pollutes this much.
Really,
and this is better than trying to hide it.
huge transparency.
Yes.
Really good transparency.
So I can watch this one.
There's no such thing as a perfect writer. This is why I use Grammarly to check my work.
If I'm putting
Patagonia is a great example of a strong brand that has basically said, we're going to go as transparent as we can.
anybody working in the environmental field knows you're not talking about what's wrong, you're not telling the whole story.
You don't have to be worried about telling everybody the bad thing you're doing. As long as you say that we're working on this. But if you try to be dishonest, try to hide it, it's going to come back and bite you.
They did something a couple of years ago called the Footprint Chronicles, where they put up on their website the story of the products that they were selling.
It was one of the first really progressive approaches to transparency. Through their choosing, they came to people and they said, we're going to show you how our products are made. When I looked at it, it's not good news.
This is Patagonia, like the environmental outdoor brand, talking about we put toxic chemicals on your jacket you're wearing.
And it's so common to say, oh, what's the challenge? What's the opportunity? It's like, no, it's bad. It's just bad. So we just laid it out there. Here's what's good. Here's what's bad. And then what we think. And it was a scary notion. If we put it out there, it turns a lot of confrontations into a conversation.
The consumer has proven that they don't expect perfection. Time and time again, when companies have used transparency right, the consumer hasn't looked at the truth and said, oh, it's not perfect enough, I'm moving on. They're very realistic about it.
I don't think advertising is enjoying the same luxury it once had. We're all skeptics today. We've all heard it far too many times. Clear is the new clever. And you need to be clear in your messages. Clever doesn't work anymore.
Yeah? You got it? That's very important, and it applies completely to ethics. Yes. Don't try to be clever in this class. All right, I think we have time for one more slide. Last slide for today. So I think by now it's obvious why you want to be ethic in business.
So companies hire us.
I mean as a business. Because it's sustainable, yeah? It's unsustainable to be unethical because they will catch you. This is the same message as what you saw in the videos, basically. People will love you, you will need to spend less on advertisement. Number two, what does that mean? This is kind of integrity, right? You are the same, yeah? This is basically integrity. This one means that ethics at the end is good for business, so it's more profitable. Do you believe it?
Yes.
They measure this, and it's kind of true. Like, there's a group of companies called CSR. CSR is Corporate Social Responsibility. And you can compare the stock market of these ones with the ones that don't have CSR department. And it's 1-2% higher in the CSR companies. So companies that spend a bit on social responsibility, which is basically to have a department thinking, what are we doing for society and stuff like that? Are we being green enough and stuff like that? Are we shutting down the lights to save energy and stuff like that? It's having a department taking care of that. Those companies perform better in the stock market. There are many papers about it. So for example, if you Google CSR. It's a very good department to work in a company, by the way. CSR, compare. Is this images? No.
It's the
This one?
yeah.
Yeah. Index. I cannot find it. If somebody finds it, let me know. But I want the Dow Jones, something like that, but I cannot find it. Let's see, Nikkei. Ah, here it is. No. Anyway, so you would see a chart, and you would see companies with CSR a bit better than the rest of the companies. I don't know why, but it's some data point. Make sense? Being more ethical means your employees will be less time in jail, right? So that's good for you. And you will avoid unfavorable publicity, which is kind of linked to this one. Yes? I mean, this should be obvious, but that's what it is. All right, so that's it for today. Any questions? For the quiz, you can propose questions for the quiz. Like, I think this question would be a good question for the quiz, and if I like it, I will put it in the quiz. Yes? Everything you saw until today. On Monday, we written on Slack. It's written there.
Okay, we will post question, but can you give us the answer?
Of course.
What?
Yeah. Welcome. And there's 7 PowerPoints. Yes. Yeah, no. Life is tough.
That's why I said I will fill this score.
No, you won't. Don't worry.